Dear listeners and viewers, I am going to explain the summary of the Sidolines written by Amitabh Ghosh. Amitabh Ghosh is one of the prolific writers of English literature in India. He has written a large number of books, but before explaining the uh, Sidolines, I would like to say something about his biography which will help you to understand the novel The Sidolines. Amitabh Ghosh was born in Calcutta in the year 1956. He is in an affluent family. He grew up in Sri Lanka, India, and Bangladesh since his father was a diplomat. He got his education in a boarding school, Dehradun Doon School, and cleared his graduation from St. Stephen's College, Delhi. And from Delhi University, he did his MA, and thereafter he went to England and did his PhD in social anthropology. Thereafter, he moved to New York and became professor in Queens Land University and Columbia University. Now he is settled in New York with his family. He taught comparative literature in those universities. Amitabh Ghosh has written both fiction and non-fiction books. His first book, The Circle of Regions, appeared in 1986. The Sidolines, 1988. The Glass Palace, 2000. The Hungry Tide, 2004. Imam and Indians, 2002. The Calcutta Chromosomes, 1995. Sea of Poppies, 2008. The Great Dearrangement, Climate Change, and The Unthinkable, 2016. Amitabh Ghosh was awarded Padma Shri in 2007 by President of India, and in 2018 he was awarded with the highest literary award, Gyanpith. And for this famous book, The Sidolines, he was awarded Sahitya Academy Award in 1990. Now I will come to the Sidolines. The Sidolines is a historical fiction based on realism. It depicts a multi-layered, complex meaning and themes. Due to its narrative technique and themes, it becomes all-time favorite for the readers. Though the novel has been written into two parts, going away and coming home with no separate chapters. I will narrate the summary in a combined manner and in a simple way so that you may understand the novel. The novel is set in Calcutta, in India, and Bangladesh and London. There is no fixed time frame. The events cannot be explained in a linear manner, and the novel speaks a lot about the political development during colonial and post-colonial era. Shadowlines bears all ingredients of the post-colonial literature. It is a book that captures perspective of time and events. The lines drawn bring people together and holds them apart. The lines are clearly visible from one perspective and non-existent imaginary from another perspective. The novel, in fact, invites the readers to invent a story out of the memories of the people who experienced Swadeshi movement, World War II, partition, and the effect of partition thereafter. The novel has been set on the backdrop of the above incidents I have explained above, namely the Swadeshi movement, World War II, partition of India in the year 1947, and the communal riots in the year 1963-64 in Calcutta and Dhaka. Later on, I will explain the narrative technique and the themes and the justification of the title of the novel. After going through these, you will have a complete understanding of this complex novel. In the Shadowlines, the story is narrated by an unnamed narrator in first person. The narrator is 8 years old when the story begins. The narrator tells the story of 3 generations. The narration is based on the memories of the grandmother Thamma of the narrator and his uncle Trivdev, and partly on the memory of the narrator himself. The story begins like this. The family of Thamma lives in Dhaka. I mean, his father is living in Dhaka, and Thamma is having a sister named Maya Devi. His uncle Jethu Mosai also lives with them there in Dhaka. But a feud arises between the two families. The two families get separated, and the upside down house is separated, a wall is erected in between, finally, into two parts. And this brings the two family quite aloof from each other. Now, Thamma is married to a railway worker, whereas Maya Devi is married to a Saheb, son of Justice Chandrasekhar Datta Chaudhary. Jetu Musai lives all alone in the house, as due to his eccentric nature, he gets ousted other family members and his children leave him all alone. Saheb is a diplomat, and after the marriage, Thamma comes to Calcutta, and Maya Devi goes with Saheb, who is a diplomat, as I have already told. Meanwhile, Thamma's husband dies, leaving behind a minor son. But she does not seek any kind of help from anyone, since he is egoist and joins a school in Calcutta as a teacher, and finally retires in the year 1962 as a principal. During this period, she brings up his son, who is married later on, and the narrator takes birth. But his parents die. Thamma looks after him. Maya Devi gives birth to three sons, namely Jatin, Trideep, and Rovi. Jatin becomes a diplomat. Trideep is doing PhD in Calcutta in anthropology. Rovi is few years older than the narrator. Jatin has a daughter, Illa, Illa, Illa. Maya Devi thus gives birth to three sons only: Jatin, Trideep, and Rovi. Meanwhile, Saheb suffers from a disease which requires a surgery. This surgery is not possible in India. Therefore, they have to go to London. Since Justice Chandrasekhar Chaudhary and Saheb hold higher posts, they have a large number of relations in London, and one of his friends, Mr. Lionel Tressan, Lionel Tressewan, Lionel Tressan. He invites Saheb to come to London. He has a daughter, Mrs. Price. Mrs. Price has two children, May and Nick. Thus, Saheb and Maya Devi starts for London Trideep also goes with them. He is just 9 years old. The year is 1939. While they are in London, World War II begins. In London, Trideep gathers different kinds of memories in his mind. In 1940, the brother of Mrs. Price, Mr. Allen, along with another person, die in the bombarding. Hence, Sahib, Mayadevi, and Trideep come back to India. In the year 1947, the partition takes place on religious ground in India, and Thamma lifts the idea of going to Dhaka, as East Bengal now becomes the capital of Dhaka, uh, the capital of East Pakistan, which used to be a part of India earlier. In the year 1953, the narrator is born. As Trideep grows up, he does not forget May. He develops love for her. In 1959, he writes a letter to May and expresses his affection and passion for her. May also replies. In 1963, Trideep writes a long letter to May and expresses his feelings openly to May. He says in the letter that he wants to have a physical relation with her in the same manner as he had seen two lovers making love in a bombarded cinema, which was destroyed in London. May agrees. She promises to come to India. Meanwhile, Ila visits India. When she is at the age of 9, she has to attend a family function at Calcutta. Here it is relevant to mention that Ila, the narrator, and Nick are of the same age group. Robbie is just few years older than the narrator. Ila takes the narrator to a big house in Calcutta, where she shows him a large table. They start playing a game called houses, Ghar Ghar, with a doll named Magda. Magda is none but Ila herself. She narrates a story that had happened with her in her school in London. She explains how a boy abused her and how Nick saved her and begins to weep. The narrator does not understand why Ila is weeping. However, Ila says that she loves Nick. This makes the narrator unhappy and he becomes jealous of Nick. Trideep is a man of imagination. He is the male protagonist of the novel. He narrates stories to the narrator and advises him to imagine as much as he can. He says that sometimes imaginations come to be true, and the world is an imagination in the eye of Trideep. The narrator patiently listens to his stories and gather them in his memories. Sometimes Thamma also narrates the story of the past to the narrator. That thus, whatever the narrator speaks is based on the memories of Trideep and Dhamma and also on his memories as I have told earlier. He is he in fact is more a listener than a narrator. Here I stop the first part of my summary, and in the second part I will complete the whole summary of the great novel, The Shadow Lines. I will request you, if you like my narration and the summary, please like and share it and give your comments so that I may improvise myself. Thank you.